इमरान खान के बेटों को वालिद की रिहाई की मुहिम के लिए क्यों सामने आना पड़ा?
What we know is that he has no access to other prisoners. He is, alone in there. He's occasionally in the pitch black for prolonged periods. There was one period where he was in there for 10 days in the pitch black.
पाकिस्तान तहरीक इंसाफ के बानी और साबिक वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान के बेटों सलेमान खान और कासिम खान ने एक इंटरव्यू में कहा कि बानी इमरान खान की रिहाई के लिए हमारे पास ज्यादा ऑप्शन नहीं बचे। साबिक वज़ीर आज़म के दोनों बेटों कासिम खान और सलेमान खान ने अपने वालिद की कैद पर अवामी सतह पर पहली बार बात की है।
He said the first 2 days were beyond difficult, and then he was able to get into a kind of Zen-like mentality, and what ended up being 10 days, he said it could have been a year. So yeah, the situation in his cell is pretty bleak.
नवंबर 2023 में अदालत ने इन्हें हर हफ्ते अपने वालिद से राबिता करने की इजाजत दी थी, लेकिन इनका दावा है कि ये राबिता हमेशा मुमकिन नहीं हो पाया।
Nail on the head. It's a technique to try and break him. He's a very resilient person. And I don't, he's one of the hardest people possible to break. But all of these techniques, shutting off the lights, leaving him in the pitch black, not allowing doctors to go and see him, making sure that all of our calls are at completely random times and that we might miss them, or whatever, not letting us have our court mandated weekly phone calls. All of this is tactics to try and break him. But he's, good luck, because he's a as resilient as they come mentally, and that comes down to his faith. He has strong faith in God, and also he's always had that kind of mental toughness as well. So it's all torture techniques, exactly as you said.
सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर्स मारियो नोफिल को दिए गए इंटरव्यू में इनसे पूछा गया कि उन्होंने अपने वालिद की कैद से मुतल्लक आप बोलने का क्यों फैसला किया। कासिम खान का कहना था कि हमने कानूनी रास्ता इख्तियार किया और हर वो रास्ता आजमाया जिससे हमें लगा कि इमरान खान कैद से बाहर आ सकते हैं, लेकिन हमारे वहमो गुमान में भी नहीं था कि वो इतने अरसे तक अंदर रहेंगे, जबकि अब हालात बद से बदतर होते जा रहे हैं। लिहाजा हमारे पास ज्यादा ऑप्शन नहीं बचे, इसलिए हमने फैसला किया है कि अवामी सतह पर आकर बात करना ही वाहिद रास्ता है।
We've known for a while that he's gone through periods of having no light in his cell. He's been in there for nearly 2 years, and there have been periods of no access to the outside world, no access to doctors. We're well aware of the situation, and he's been in prolonged solitary confinement. So if only we were able to speak to him more. The court mandates that we speak to him once every week. We speak to him once every 2 or 3 months, if that.
उन्होंने कहा कि हम चाहते हैं कि इमरान खान की रिहाई से मुतल्लक पाकिस्तान पर बैनुल-अक़वामी दबाव हो, क्योंकि वो गैर इंसानी हालात में जिंदगी गुजार रहे हैं और इन्हें बुनियादी इंसानी हकूक से महरूम रखा जा रहा है। कानूनी रास्तों से अब तक कोई हाथर हुआ कामयाबी न मिलने पर सलेमान खान का कहना था कि हमने तमाम दीगर ऑप्शंस और कानूनी रास्ते आजमा लिए, जबकि ऐसे लगता है कि आलमी मीडिया में जैसे बिल्कुल खामोशी है।
He's definitely that's a very accurate description. He's definitely, resilient. He's probably one of, I would say, I'm obviously biased, but he is definitely the most resilient person that I know by a distance. Very mentally tough, and he sat whenever we speak to him, he's as strong as ever. But he's not the type of person to complain about the conditions that he's in. Whenever we will always ask how he is, but he'll always sort of brush off those sorts of questions. He's more interested in hearing how we are.
अमेरिकी ओहदेदार रिचर्ड ग्रीनल की जानिब से इमरान खान की रिहाई के मुतालबे से मुतल्लक पूछे गए सवाल पर सलेमान खान का कहना था कि ताहाल इनसे कोई बात नहीं हुई, ताहम वो इनकी अब तक की हमायत पर शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं। ट्रम्प इंतजामिया के लिए पैगाम के हवाले से सलेमान खान ने कहा, हम अपने वालिद की रिहाई के हवाले से हर उस हुकूमत से अपील करेंगे जो आज़ादी इजहार और हकीकी जमहूरियत की हामी हो।
We'll get a message, and it can be sometimes at about 4 a.m. On any day, and it'll suddenly say, okay, call coming at 10 a.m. So we have 6 hours, and if we're not awake through that period, then we miss it, which has happened before, and then we have to wait another 3 months before anything comes about. But usually we're able to, we're quite on it with it, and are able to rush whatever situation we're in. We cancel, for me, I cancel any meetings, whatever it is. And instantly we jump on, and then often we're left waiting for about an hour, and then eventually the call comes through, and then we have about 20 minutes to speak. So there's no protocol. It's a complete mess.
उनका कहना था कि वो चाहते हैं कि आलमी बरादरी सब कुछ देखे उनके साथ क्या हो रहा है। उन्होंने उम्मीद जाहिर की कि वे कोई इकदाम भी करेंगे और इस मामले पर तवज्जो देने के लिए ट्रंप से बेहतर और कौन हो सकता है।
Mainly to do with the fact that there are many of his supporters and his party members and family members who are in prison currently in similar conditions to him. So and he's very, very principled, and he wouldn't, on their behalf, I think that definitely would have played a part. He wouldn't want to kind of, he'd want to be aligned with them.
He's always been kind of very principled, and I don't think he'd go against his principles very on a whim.
उन्होंने मजीद कहा कि हम डोनाल्ड ट्रंप से बात करना चाहेंगे या कोई ऐसा रास्ता निकालना चाहेंगे जिससे वो किसी तरह मदद कर सके, क्योंकि आखिर हमारा मकसद सिर्फ अपने वालिद को कैसे आजाद कराना है, पाकिस्तान में जमहूरियत लाना और उनकी बुनियादी इंसानी हुकूक को यकीनी बनाना है।
Actually, when I was younger, I'd hated him being in politics, would way rather him just do sort of cricket punditry or analysis and live an easy life in London or out of politics. But it is genuinely his passion, and I don't think he'd feel fulfilled if he wasn't doing what he's doing. I don't think he'd be happy if he was just living a kind of easy life in London because I think if he wanted to be in exile, he could. But he's genuinely.
एक सवाल के जवाब में दोनों भाइयों का कहना था कि 2 से 3 माह में सिर्फ एक बार इमरान खान से बात कर पाते हैं। हमारा सियासत में एक हिस्सा लेने का कोई इरादा नहीं। और इस इंटरव्यू में बोलने से पहले उन्होंने इमरान खान से इजाजत ली थी।
No, I mean, I personally would never. I wouldn't even want to say that to him, because imagine you're his son and all he speaks to. So when we spend time with him, a lot of the time we'll be kind of whatever, when we were younger, we were playing cricket with him. Now, watching films, whatever it is, half of the time he's spent lecturing us on rule of law, justice in Pakistan, how, the reasons why he got into politics. We know them so well, and it would be just to go against everything he preaches about, to suddenly just say, okay, I'm going to give up and I'm going to live an easy life. It's not in his nature. He has a single-minded obsession to try and help the people of Pakistan, and it's in such turmoil right now, Pakistan. He's dedicated to it, and he's not going to give up.
And he's always wanted you guys to be out of politics. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think, if you look at the two established parties in Pakistan, there's a tradition of it's like dynastic politics. They're dominated by 2 different families, and so he's always wanted to. He hasn't wanted his party to follow that tradition, So I personally don't ever want to be involved in politics in Pakistan, and I don't think he wants us to be either.
Yeah. So more than anything, we've gone through the legal routes. We've gone through, every route that we thought would potentially get him out. We never thought he would be in there a fraction of how long he's been in there. And it's only getting worse. And so, we've somewhat run out of those options. And now we've decided, okay, the only route is to, of taking action is to come and speak publicly. And I think, I appreciate you for allowing us to speak here about it. What we want is international pressure on Pakistan right now, because currently he's living in inhumane conditions. They're not giving him basic human rights. They're not really doing anywhere near enough, and what we want is global pressure.
Yeah, I think like Qasim said, we've tried, we've exhausted other options, legal avenues, and it's gone very quiet. It seems in the international media, at least, it seems to have gone very quiet.
मज़ीद वीडियो के लिए देखते रहिए HDN।